The next thing you can do is you can go by thirds. So if we do parallel thirds by intervals in the key of C major, we're going from C in the bottom note or in the bass voice to E minor seventh, up a third to G7, up a third to B half diminished seventh, then up a third would be to D minor seventh. I would jump down to the D, and then up a third to F major seventh, A minor seventh, up a third, and then you finish. So the easy way to remember this is that these are seventh chords built on the tones found in the 1 and 2 chords. So the 1 chord with a major seventh is C major seventh, and the 2 chord is D minor seventh, right? So if we look at the bottom notes of these chords, we've got C, E, G, and B, or a C major seventh, and then D, F, A, and C, a D minor seventh. So 1-7 and 2-7. That means you can do this in any key by thinking about those terms. And let's say I'm in the key of E. E, G sharp, B, D sharp, then F sharp, A, C sharp, and back to E, right? So that's... So that's an easy way to think of that. You'll go through all of the inversions. Right? And what's really interesting about this is that if you look at the bottom here, E, G, B, and D, so that's an E minor seventh chord, F, A, C, and E, that's an F major seventh chord. So think about this for a second. In our first series, you got the 1 chord, C, E, G, and B in the first 2 measures on the bass voice. The second measure is the 2 chord, D, F, A, and C. So you've got 7th chords built on scale tones from those bass notes. Then when you go to the first inversion, the bass notes of each one of these chords is the 3 chord, E, G, B, and D. And then for the last 3 chords, until you repeat the tonic, F, A, C, and E. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here you're starting on the 5. So you're doing a 5-7, G, B, D, and F, and then A, C, E, and G. Whoops, this double line's in the wrong place. And then finally here you're doing a B half diminished. So you've got B, D, F, and A, and then C, E, G, and B. And these are the third inversion chords. So if I were to play all of these, so that's an easy way to remember those. It's getting a little complicated, but that's why you start doing the simple, which is the scales, right? And then you start playing around with common tones, and then you move to thirds, and your mind is starting to think about where are the patterns and how I can, figure out patterns that will help me remember where all of these things are. The next thing to do would be common tone, right? So let me play through these 2 lines here. Again, we're in the key of C, and all these things should be done in both hands. Should be done in all 12 keys, and you should play around with all different ways of playing these things. And as I said in the first video, voicing these is also a nice way to play it so that your top note comes out. Right, something like that. So let me play through that from 65 to the end of this line here. C major seventh in root position, E minor seventh in third inversion, G7 in second inversion, B half diminished in first inversion. So you're going root, third inversion, second inversion, first inversion. And that pattern goes all the way through every 2 bars. So that's pretty cool. Another way to remember that. Now, another pattern is down a third and up a second. Let's play that and then we'll talk about it. All right, so we're going from C down a third in the key to A minor seventh, and then up a step in the key. And this is all parallel motion, so these are all just root position seventh chords. But now let's go here to our common tone, and I'll play this and then we'll talk about this. So basically with this one, on the downbeats, you're playing a chord in root position, and then on beat 3, you're just moving the soprano voice down a step in the key. That's the pattern there, all right? And then you're just going down. Every measure, the bass or the lowest pitch is going down a step, right? So C, C, B, B, A, G, G, F, right? All the way down. And your C major seventh, B, G, A, F, G, E, F. So root position, first inversion, root position, first inversion, right? Very easy to figure out those patterns. These next 3 lines are the same chord progression, but I'm taking the first chord through all of its inversions. So C major seventh. Now to get to A minor seventh, just move the seventh down to the A, the B to the A, and then you hold that common tone to the next chord and you move to your B half diminished seventh in first inversion, and then to get to the G7, you move the alto voice down 1. And that's the pattern all the way down. Right? And then with this next one, it's the tenor voice that moves down in steps. And with the bottom one, it's the bass voice that moves down in steps. The other reason that I like this is that it not only is stepwise on the inner voices or the lower voices or the top voices, but then between the second chord and the third chord, right, you've got the common tones, right? So in the first 2 chords, the bottom 3 notes are the common tone, and between the second chord and the third chord, the top note is the common tone. Now here, we're doing some descending scales, right? So these are just scales. This, I guess, must have been something that I missed in the first part. Here we're going from C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B half diminished, C, but the scales are going down, but the chords are actually going up. Okay, if you like this video, give a thumbs up. For more content, please subscribe, and to be notified, ring that bell. Please leave any comments or questions down below. There's a link for this PDF in the description box. If you feel like further supporting the channel, there's a link where you can buy me a cup of coffee down there as well. I appreciate you watching, and let's get to the last couple of things in this lesson. Now, another thing that you can do to learn these is that you're going to want to use these in... you're going to want to eventually start using these things in musical contexts. So one of the ways to get used to doing that is to make some melodic sequences. So at measure 136, which is right here, I've got a very simple melodic sequence. Right? So just this, and then you can harmonize that with close position with your secondary seventh chords. Yeah, so that's nice. And you can play around with that too. Let me show you by altering a couple of tones chromatically how you can have something that sounds really nice. Over in this area, I altered a couple of A's to A flat. And then another thing that you can do is you can take melodic scale-wise fragments from standard tunes. So at the bottom, we've got the first couple of measures for the standard There Will Never Be Another You. The song goes... Right? So if I were to just use very simple secondary sevenths, and we're in the key of E flat here, and I played that little figure there, it'd sound like this. And then you take that and you transpose it to all 12 keys. The same with the previous one. Right? You do those things in all 12 keys. And if you have trouble playing that in all 12 keys, work on the first measure for one day. Then work on the second measure. Then work on the first and second measures. Then work on the third measure and put all three measures together. Then work on the final measure and put all four measures together. Right? You do it in steps. The way that you get progress with this is consistent daily practice. You don't go crazy. You don't need to spend 10 hours a day doing this stuff. But I think 20 minutes a day is doable. And you break it down into small chunks that you can finish, that you can achieve your goal. And you'll feel like you've been successful instead of being overwhelmed by this insane amount of information that I'm giving you, because there's going to be a couple of more videos in this series. Break it down into small chunks, right? There's no deadline where you have to finish this. This is a lifetime study, harmony, a lifetime study. I practice harmony 20 minutes a day, and I've been playing the piano since I was 5 years old, and I'm an old man now, and I still practice it every day. You know, it's something that you really just need to commit to in order to grow your harmonic vocabulary, to make your music more emotionally satisfying and more interesting. All right, if you like this video, give a thumbs up. For more content, please subscribe, and to be notified, ring that bell. Leave any comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Pete Calandra, and I'll catch you on the next one.